Hello YouTube, this is SilverContrails here. I got my video camera back and charged up. Unfortunately, I don't have a tripod anymore, so yeah, that kind of sucks. So I'll just be holding another camera. But I want this video to go along with my article, which hopefully I'll be posting recently. Actually, at the time of recording this, it's not even done yet, because I've been lazy and I got finals for school and stuff. So, what I wanted to talk about a little bit about plants and the Gravekeeper matchup and the side deck. A lot of people, when they talk about plants and all its variants, the side deck is so incredibly stupid against it. Chain Disappearance on Lone Fire. Yeah, that sucks. There goes your play for that turn, and you're done using Lone Fire unless you have Return. And such things like that. Obviously, Necro Valley, which I'll talk about quite a bit, and things like first turn Shien, first turn Stardust Dragon, those kinds of things. I made the article to address a lot of these problems, address what the trends people are making and why I think they might be bad trends. And I think I'll start off by saying there really are two tier 1 strategies right now. The first one is having a very aggressive searching ability and first turn lockdown situations. Stardust Dragon with 3 back row, first turn Shien, 3 back row, Gravekeeper, Royal Tribute, or just Necro Valley on the field with a set monster, X-Sabers with a set card that might be Trap Stun and something like a Dark Soul. Really dangerous stuff. Plants don't really have that. Instead, they go by the other tier 1 option, which is really explosive plays that allow you to come back, and a lot of that originally comes from Debris Dragon. He's sort of the ultimate comeback card. Debris Dragon, Black Rose, nuke the field, and that's something that we saw a lot of last format. Certainly when Debritheim first came out, that was the strategy. I remember playing that, and I talk about that quite a bit in my article. I remember playing that, and this was the play. I mean, there was very few ways to stop this, and it was so good when you actually got it off. Debris Dragon being semi-limited means it's a bit harder to do that. I probably wouldn't run 3 anyways, but Debris Dragon also faces a number of issues when it comes to Necro Valley and the side deck. In particular, when you talk about making comeback plays and things, there are definitely a lot of cards that plants have that can make plays like that, can make these huge comebacks for you. Certainly, hold on a second. There it is. Certainly Chaos Sorcerer. I'm going to move these cards over to the side. I will talk about them in a bit. Chaos Sorcerer being one of the big comeback cards. First turn Shien. Well, if you have a loaded graveyard, either because you can use a charge, or if it's not, say it's not a first turn Shien, say it's a third turn Shien, or a fourth turn. Chaos Sorcerer, if they don't have Warning or Effect Veiler, and they usually don't run Effect Veiler, then they're losing their Shien. Okay, that's pretty nice. Chaos Sorcerer is really, 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 really good this format. I mean, just an excellent, excellent card. There's so many floaters that are going to sit face up, and you can just hit them and say, okay, goodbye. Ryo is a threat, obviously, to Sorcerer, but if they pitch their Sorcerer for Ryo or they pitch their Ryo for Sorcerer's summon, to negate it. Okay, well then, Debris Dragon, make a play out of that. The fact that this isn't going to be your only play is really nice. Chaos Sorcerer being really good, but obviously Necro Valley means you can't summon it because you can't remove cards in your graveyard from play. So taking down Necro Valley has been really important for people. Obviously, that's where cards like Lila, main deck Breaker, those things come in. I like this engine. Two Raikou, a Lila, We saw Flanval's top running 3 Lila in the main, no Raikou. It's just a good card to just summon, bait out stuff. You want to bait out things. Lila, I feel, is a bit meh in a deck like this, unless I'm trying to summon something like a Trishula, because a lot of times you're not going to be summoning monsters into bottomless. I was running a main deck Ryo, I probably won't do that anymore, but you're not going to be summoning into bottomless all that often outside of your Synchros and your Chaos Sorcerer, I guess you could say. But bottomless doesn't really matter that much to you, and if they have them, they'll usually be dead, and I don't like running something that makes bottomless not dead, that kind of a thing. But definitely a good card to work with Trap Stun. So plays like that, and then obviously running Charge of the Light Brigade and to search things, which obviously the deck has very little searching power. Plants as a whole have very little searching power outside of Lone Fire. We've got, there's Sangan, and that's about it. Outside of that, the plant deck isn't one, and I think this goes to, I think anyone who plays this format knows, you don't want to be setting cards. You don't want to be setting all kinds of stuff, Raikou, Spirit Reaper, and a lot of that comes down to the deck just lacks floaters outside of anything that can be destroyed while it's face down is really bad for the deck outside of like Sangan and Dandelion. You don't want them to just pop these cards with a Descendant or with a Monarch effect. And that really hurts, especially since this is one of your few outs to Necro Valley. And they got Necro Valley. Well, I'll set Raikou, blow it up next turn. Nope, Descendant. Okay, you lose. I mean, if you don't have an out, then what are you gonna do? You don't get your mill, you lose Raikou. It would have been a better card. It was an amazing card last format. It's just not as good this format, especially with Scrap Dragon and Legionnaire and all the 6 Samurai crap. Just a lot of stuff that's out there that can stop it. Card Trooper continues to be good in all plant variants, but it's just the there's an over-reliance on mill right now, I feel. Doppel especially has an over-reliance on mill, getting cards into the graveyard, and they get locked down pretty hard, actually. And while that's not a great, that's a terrible thing to have, because Necro Valley just says no to the entire deck, and that's the reason why there's such a dependence on cards like these or Dust Tornadoes, things like that. And the fact that Kai's is harder to use now. Gravekeepers would be infinitely easier if we still had 2 Dandelion, because Kai's would be a lot easier to play. Kai's does a lot of good things against Gravekeepers. Hit that face down Spy, that face down Recruiter, or just their cards, their Necro Valley and that kind of thing. Kai's just does amazing things, and I've been very much advocating its use, but only in the builds that can run it, and some builds can't. A lot of the YCS topping builds run Kai's in multiples. There's ones that run 3, and they just run like the standard deck. It may be a playstyle thing. Birdman. Birdman's really interesting. He does combo really well with Kai's, but Birdman also lets you pull off a lot of combos with Reborn Tengu. Honestly, Reborn Tengu comes out, this goes in the deck, this goes in the deck. Right now, I'm iffy on both of them, but Reborn Tengu makes Kai's live. In addition to that, Reborn Tengu means that the GK matchup is infinitely easier. They don't have ways to get... Tengu is basically always going to keep charging out there, and they don't have a lot of ways to just get it off the field and get rid of it for good, get rid of all 3 of them. Which means you can sack for Kai's, and they're going to get screwed, especially with cards like Birdman and such, which allow you to very easily get to things like Black Rose Dragon and Ancient Fairy Dragon. So those are my thoughts on some of the plant matchups, this format, and building up the plant deck. In my next video, I might do a short thing on some plant combos, but I won't make any promises. So check out my article if you haven't already, and I guess that's it. So until next time then.